Thank you for purchasing your TouchTrainer. This is the TouchTrainer assembly video. We'll walk you through the full assembly of your TouchTrainer from unboxing to turning it on. What you want to start with is the envelope that's included in the main TouchTrainer box that says "Stop, open this first." Inside here you'll find the TouchTrainer manual with actual steps on how to do each of these parts, as well as the power cable to connect your TouchTrainer to a power source, the TouchTrainer hardware packs, and all the bits and screws that you need for this whole assembly. Alright, so welcome to the table assembly video. We're going to start with attaching the legs and feet to the bottom of the table. So first we make sure we have everything. You should have two of these large legs with feet already attached to them. And you should also have two more feet that we're going to attach at the end, and a modesty plate that we're going to put on in between the legs for structural soundness. Now you should also have 8 of the M6 screws and 4 of these very large normal Phillips head screws. So we're going to start by taking one of the legs, and we want to make sure that the inserts are facing the inside of the table. So this one will go on this side. Now we're going to take off these rubber caps that we see at the bottom here. We're going to line this up, and if you look through these little holes, you'll be able to see where the nutsert is. So we're going to go ahead and start with one of our M6 screws, take our hex bit, and we're going to go through the hole and into the nutsert in the table. Screw that in nice and tight. And now for this one we actually need to pull up on this black plastic cover, and we'll expose the hole for the other one. Make sure these are nice and tight. Now we're going to slide this back down, replace these rubber caps that we took off. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other side. And that's how we put on the legs. Now we need to attach the feet. Feet have 2 holes, here and here, and those will actually fit right on top here and match up with 2 holes on the legs. So you're going to slide this on, line up those holes, and we're going to change our bit to Phillips head. Alright, so now we have our legs and feet on here. Now we're going to attach the modesty plate. For the modesty plate we need 4 of our M6 screws and our hex bit. The modesty plate is attached on the back here. So now we're going to attach the modesty plate. First we start with these, you'll see a gold insert, 2 on each side, for where you attach these M6 screws. So start with top here, and now we'll do the one under that. And now with this modesty plate attached, your table is all set and ready to be turned over, and the rest of the assembly can be continued. So now that you have your base on your table, we can go ahead and start attaching our monitors. We're going to start with our planar monitor, which is our main touch monitor. Now with your planar monitor, when you unpack it from the box, you should also have a bracket. You take 4 of the VESA panhead screws, and you're going to attach it to the back of the planar monitor like this. Now before we set it up, we want to plug in all of the cables in the back because they're hard to reach once it's set up. So you're going to take the 3 cables in the planar monitor harness, Power 13, USB 14, and HDMI 15. Power 13 is on the left side. We'll connect it there. USB 14 is in the middle, and HDMI 15 is on the right. Once you have all 3 of those connected, we can tilt it up and set it back. You want to line it up in the back to where the 2 holes in the bracket meet the 2 nutsert holes inside the base. Now for the aux monitor, the bracket will come pre-attached So all you have to do is take it out of the box that's included in your TouchTrainer. And now we need to plug in the 3 cables given by the AUX monitor harness on this side. Once you have these 3 cables connected, we pull our AUX monitor back as well and line it up with the bracket, the holes for the bracket in the back. Now we take 4 of our M6 15 screws and just with our hands first tighten them, and then later on we can tighten them even further with our hex bit. So now that we have our 2 touch monitors set up, we can put our computer in this back slot. So we're going to grab our computer, and we want to make sure that the part with power button is facing out, and all the cable connections for the back are facing behind the planar monitor. So this is the VisX stand assembly. What we're going to start with is grabbing our 10mm nut setter, and we need our 8 split washers and 8 M6 nuts. So what we start with is connecting the left horizontal cross member with the center horizontal cross member. And it's easiest if you put them sort of on their side and then set in the nut sets like that. Go ahead and place your 2 split washers, and then just start your M6 nuts right on top. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for the right horizontal cross member. Alright, now we want to attach the vertical cross members that I have up here. So the best way to do that is to lay this down flat. Actually start with the left vertical cross member. It should be labeled on the inside, and that's going to face towards the center. So you want to place that under and line it up with the 2 holes for the studs. Like that, and it should rest pretty well on the table while you do this. So now you want to place your 2 split washers again, your M6 screw. So line it up, and this one's not going to sit flat on your table, so you're going to have to hold it up with your hand under. Okay, so now that we have our VisX assembly all set up, we're going to go ahead and place it on the table. And it's easiest to go from the back here. We can also put it on from the front. And you just slide it right over, and it should fit in nicely. Now don't push it all the way to the front because we still have to attach our 3 monitors. And now they come pre-labeled, so you can see on the front exactly which monitor it is and where that's going to go. So we start with our center monitor. And before we do that, we want to make sure we have the correct nut setter. So I'm going to take off the 10mm we just used and put on the 7mm. And we grab our M4 nuts, which are included in your hardware pack. Place the monitor through the front and just set it into the holes in the back. Now we can start the screwing on with our hands of these M4 nuts just to get them in place, and then we'll tighten them with the nut setter. Alright, so now that we have our VisX assembly all set up, we're going to go ahead and start plugging in all the cords. So first you want to grab your rudder pedals and place them under your table. Unravel the wire if it is. And just leave that cable down on the side, and we'll get to that in a second. So first we need to plug in everything for the VisX assembly. So we'll start over here on the left. And you'll notice that there's a harness just for this left monitor. So you're going to go ahead and plug in your DVI cable and then your power. Next up is the center cable, same orientation. Finally, you have your right monitor harness here. It's an HDMI cable. So now we're going to go ahead and start with the computer connections. So you'll notice you have 3 cables that will input into your video cards in your computer coming from your monitors. And we also have this harness coming out of the base. So what we usually like to start with is the DVI 3 and HDMI 2 cables. So we start with those because they are in the back of the computer, the furthest plugs. And finally, we plug in the right video cable into the slot labeled R. So now that we have all of those in, we can start plugging in all of our other connections. First one we do is our power 1. This powers our computer. Okay, so once we have this power cable plugged in, we're going to go ahead and plug in our two touchscreen monitor USB cables. We have a main touch 5 and an AUX touch 4. So we're going to bring them around here just for organization's case and start with the main touch 5, plug that into the slot labeled 5, and the AUX touch 4 goes right on top of that into slot 4. Now we're going to plug in all of our hardware, and finally we're going to grab this router 7 that's been hanging out on the floor, plug that into the 7 slot. Now finally, your TouchTrainer should come with a keyboard dongle and a Wi-Fi dongle pre-installed into your computer. But those two plug into the back here for a non-commercial edition. For a commercial edition, your Wi-Fi adapter might be plugged into the front of your computer, and back here you will have your X-Plane key plug-in. And those are all the plugs and connections for your computer. Your keyboard comes pre-configured, so all you have to do is take the keyboard out of the box and place it on your TouchTrainer, and once you turn your computer on, it will work. Okay, so now we've got all our computer connections set up, we've got our VisX set up, we can finally plug in our power supplies. So with your TouchTrainer, you should have included 2 separate power cables. One will be included in the envelope with all of the other CDs and microphone and that kind of stuff. The other one will be included with your VisX cross members. So take one of them. We're going to go ahead and plug it into the TouchTrainer base. You'll see the power plug right back here. Going to go ahead and just plug that guy in. And then take your other cable, and this is going to actually plug into your VisX junction box. And the plug is right under, hard to see from side view, so as you look under you'll see which way it goes in, and plug that in. Then you want to take the ends of these and plug them into your wall outlet or your surge protector, whatever you're using. Finally, you want to go to the back of your computer and turn on your on switch, which is right under the power cable. And before you turn on your actual TouchTrainer, you want to make sure you turn on all 3 monitors using the buttons on the sides. So it would be 1, 2, and 3. And then you're ready to turn on your TouchTrainer. So now that your TouchTrainer is fully assembled, you can turn it on and start flying. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always give us a call at 844-SIM-AVIO. That's 844-746-2846. Or you can email us at support@FlyThisSim.com. Happy flying!